Welcome back. On Tuesday, something we look forward to is the parenting conversation. Why? Because, well, we actually really value families and we want them to grow up in the right way. And our contribution to parenting, or rather parents everywhere today, is helping them spotlight this issue of values. With us today, once again, is Uncle Sele. And he and I have had interesting conversations over the past few weeks talking about values. And apparently some of them are missing.
Yes.
So missing values is the topic today. If it's not valuable or of value to me or my background,
Okay.
is it still considered missing if I've not instilled it in my children? For instance, now, maybe I read a book or an article or I speak with an expert like yourself, and apparently there's some values I've missed along the way, but they don't seem valuable to me, right? Or my past, my culture, my family from before.
Okay.
Is it still missing or is it just additional?
Okay. So, this is it. When you look at the society, you find a lot of vices.
Okay.
You see a whole lot of people making some certain mistakes, or because they're not aware. And so let me take, for example, someone who doesn't take responsibility. Okay. So if you backtrack in the home, are they teaching the child how to be responsible? So if you're not teaching that child how to be responsible, because the child is going to go into the society, is going to meet other children. Now, while someone is working or being very, very responsible, you're finding someone who is being irresponsible. Okay. Where did they come from? Responsibility is missing. Okay. You understand? So if you move to the home, it means that that value was not transferred to the child. Okay. So when we talk about missing values, what we're saying is, if you look at the society, what are those values that are missing that you can trace back to the home? Okay. So you see where there's no respect. So let's talk about some values that are missing in Nigeria, for example, that we see and we say to ourselves that, look, we think we need to transfer these values from the home. Let's talk about integrity. Let's talk about responsibility. Exactly. Integrity, doing the right thing, even when no one is watching you.
Even when no one is watching
you. Exactly.
So, do you want to go all the way to the top now? Are we talking about
now
management positions, in political positions? Well, what are we talking about?
No, now let's go to... Okay, let's start from the society. Okay. So we talked about management positions, we talked about politics and things like that. Yeah. Now, because it feels like it's normal, it feels like it's okay. So you see something, when your child comes out and sees that, oh, everybody is not having this value called integrity, it feels like it's okay. So it means that integrity is missing from the home. Okay. Where responsibility is not, where you see someone who doesn't do what he's supposed to do. I always tell children this, you see, you must be responsible. Do the things that you ought to do. The question is, do they know what they ought to do? Okay. If that is missing, it means that someone somewhere did not transfer that value. Responsibility also means that you're accepting the positive or negative consequences of your actions. Is your child aware that if you don't read, for example, there's every likelihood that you will fail? You can't pass that exam if you don't read. Then, and the consequences of not reading is failing the exam or the test. Or then that there will become that temptation where there's something that we're always allowed, cheating. So someone says, I can teach you. Okay. I can pass what they call chokes or expo to you. And if child sees it's okay. So it means somewhere, someone did not teach that child. So when you look at our society, we find out that a whole lot of us as parents, we need to go back and say to ourselves, what are these values we need to transfer to our children? Yeah. So that when they go out, I always say there's something called the agile of parenting. When you look at the society, what have we contributed? All of them? Yes. That agile. That agile. Yeah. Exactly. So when it comes to behavior or character, we as parents are the ones that have made up the society the way it is today. Okay. So if there's anything missing, then we need to look at ourselves and ask ourselves, what did we miss? What is it that we did not transfer? Because these children did not know anything, but they started learning from us. Started looking at us as, mentors and, models to say, oh, Mommy Titi is doing this thing. I can learn this thing from her. Okay. Do you understand? Oh, Daddy did something and he didn't apologize. It means that when I go out, I can do anything and I can get away with it. And someone is saying, you need to apologize. And I'm like, really?
Doesn't even know.
Doesn't even know.
Okay.
Do you understand? So, and that's where it starts from.
So in many cases, you know, as adults, we learn that ignorance is not an excuse anymore.
It's not.
But in the end, the children are still ignorant of it until we teach them. This is essentially what we're saying today.
Yes.
But what are those key values? Now, we've mentioned integrity. We've mentioned responsibility.
Love
As a value.
Love.
Okay, so yes, love your neighbor as yourself. That's what it says in the word. But how is this a value that if it's missing?
Okay, so let me say something. I say this a lot of times when I see issues, you know, especially in the country, and I ask myself a question: do we love each other?
Okay.
Very, very, very. It looks like it's very basic, but it's very deep. Do we love each other? Do I see you and I don't want to cheat you? Do you understand? Do I look at you and think that, oh, there's an opportunity to get something from this lady and, you know, get away with it and just go and enjoy myself? That's where you see fraud comes in. Okay. Because if I want to make sure you feel, you know, pained when I take something from you, meanwhile, I'm just enjoying myself with what I've taken. It means that love is non-existent in your heart. Do you understand? Because I see you and I you know, there was a girl in my house and she was telling me how her dad lost everything. Wow. Because someone called him and said, put this code and things like that, and he lost everything. So how did that person feel? Something is missing because the person just felt that, look, I can take from you, feel okay with it while you're even crying. Okay. Backtrack.
All the way back to the home when they were growing up.
Forget about love. Just take what you can take from these people, and you are okay.
Okay. So we need to make sure these values are no longer missing, especially in our homes, which is the smallest unit of society before our kids go out to society at large. We're talking love. We're talking integrity. We're talking honesty. And there was one more you mentioned? Responsibility. And there are obviously a few more that we need to pinpoint soon enough. We'll be touching on that online, and we would love for you to comment and contribute. Use our hashtag WakeUpNigeria on TVC and let us hear what you think. Tag us, WakeUpNigeria TVCE. We'll be looking out for your posts. All right, then, let's take a quick break. Thank you so much, Uncle Sele. All right, instead of taking that break, something smells good in the kitchen, if you ask me. Let's find out what MM and the chef are up to.